Here we go.
Episode 2, Blue Mountain Hunting Podcast.
Let's get into it.
So, ironically enough, today's bear hunting day. Because I'm going to go put some bear bait up.
Yeah, season's not open, but...
Yeah, there's a few units in Idaho where you have a 7-day buffer period where you can put bait up before the season starts. And
yeah.
That happens to be today, but just wanted to get into it a little bit here while we're messing around, waiting for the weather to warm up a bit. So I guess, yeah, we'll go over starting with like styles of bear hunting we do.
Let's talk about some bear hunting.
Yeah. So I've baited in the past.
Would you say you baited masterfully, or was it skillfully done, or how would you say?
It was excellent.
Yeah. Would you technically call yourself like a master of it?
Yeah, I would say I am a master at baiting.
Nice.
Nice. No. Baiting is, to be honest, it's a lot more work than anybody thinks it is if you really get after it. This year I'm going to throw one bait up in an area where I have great luck spot and stalk hunting, and I see just a pile of bears in this 5-mile square area, and the thought...
Whereabouts?
Yeah. The thought is just trying to get these bears to come into rifle range. You know, I'm seeing between 7 and 11 bears a day on average in this little zone.
What's this crazy talk?
Yeah, it's
a lot.
It's a lot of bears, but I'm seeing most of these bears between 1,500 and 3,000 yards, and they're on the other side of the canyon. So the plan is to drop a bait in the bottom of the canyon in an area that's pretty easy to see from a certain glassing knob I like to get on, and hopefully draw a few of these bigger boars into it, especially early in the year. This area is a really good April hunting area where all these bears are still condensed, and hopefully I'll be able to draw a few of these big boars in and get one waxed off this bait. But ironically enough, the earlier in the year I see these bears, I see more bears in this spot. But this year, because it's such a heavy snow year, I think it's going to be good towards the end of April. Or, I mean, shoot, you never know. The first day it turns 65 and this melts all the snow off, it's going to be phenomenal in that country before these bears start spreading out and it, you know, just really expanding their range.
And those first couple days, those big boars are going to be probably awake already, and they'll be the ones that are going to start moving the soonest.
Yeah, but
So,
I mean, it's all...
I'm just saying you got a lot better chance of seeing a bear and it being a boar or bigger boar than...
You know, I tend to think the same thing, but like last year, the first 5 bears I saw on April 1st, opening day, were sows with cubs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, I tend to think that the big boars are going to be up and moving first, but if I were to go back and look at my data from the years of bear hunting, like, I always see sows and cubs before boars for some reason. And
the first bear that I always see for the year is always a giant, I think. And then I'll look at it a little bit, and those ears are monstrous. And I'm like, oh, that's not even the sow, that's the cub.
Yeah, might be one of them big-eared boars, you know?
Yeah. I'm like, dang, that 12-inch round stump next to it looks pretty similar in size.
And just go by off the ears, and it's a mule bear.
Oh, wait, it's only 12 inch. It's only 150 yards away.
Yeah,
Never
it's
mind.
a mule
That's
bear.
a cub.
Dude, so I was archery elk hunting last year, and I was hunting relatively close to like some houses, I guess, on National Forest, and it butted up to some private ground, and there were some houses and stuff. And I'm cruising through the woods and I look over and I'm like, oh shit, there's a bear. And I knock an arrow and range this thing, and through the rangefinder, I'm like, there's no way that thing's 40 yards. And I start looking at it and I'm like, that's not a bear. That's a black panther. That's a black panther. And I look closer and I'm like, it's a house cat. And I'm like in the woods. Like there should not be a freaking cat around, and there's a house cat, and I thought it was a bear. It was just wild.
I've never seen a cat. I've seen a dog in the woods.
Yeah, me and Vinny saw a couple dogs 2 springs ago, and they're chasing deer. They almost got killed.
Yeah, I don't stand for that crap.
Yeah. But no, so nowadays I'm more of a spot and stalk hunter, to be honest. I'm throwing this bait up to hopefully make it easier for some of my friends to get a couple bears killed, because this area it has a problem. There are too many bears, and a lot of them aren't going to want to go hard like I do to kill a bear in the springtime. And so putting this bait up to draw these bears in the rifle range will really, I think, increase the odds of success on this deal. But
heck yeah. How far do you got to take your bait in?
Like
from where you park?
Oh, not very far. Like, I think state law requires you to be 200 feet or 200 yards from a road, and that's about as far as I'm going to take it. All the bears are hanging above the road, and if I can get them, just draw them down closer to the road, I could kill them fairly easy. And that's the thing about bear hunting is, like, everybody in the world's going to tell you need to get far and away from roads before you start seeing bears. And
that's wrong.
I completely agree. I think that you're not going to find a lot of bears off of the road, but that half-mile to mile range off the road, there's going to be a lot of bears. There's typically a lot of great habitat. And
the roads go right through all the canyons and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
They love that steep country where they can get some good forage.
Yeah.
Some good south slopes.
Yeah. And so I would say you don't have to get hundreds of miles away. I mean, it's not necessary. Yeah, there's guys that go into some of these central Idaho units and smash a couple bears a year, 8 miles from the pickup. But I don't want to do that to kill some bears.
I don't either.
It just...
I mean, I would if I was going for an added purpose.
Yeah.
Besides just hunting a bear, because...
If I was going for an adventure.
Right. Because it's unnecessary, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To do that.
No,
I think that they think that too. They just want to go in there.
Yeah.
They know that they could kill a bear in a frontage area.
Yeah, but everybody who goes into those big wilderness country units seems to be fairly successful when they're hunting bears because there are so many. And honestly, that might be the way to go for a lesser experienced bear hunter. Like, this front range country that we're talking about hunting right now, the bear populations are really hit and miss, just pocketed. Like, it took me a long time to figure out good bear spots. And when you do, it's phenomenal. But then, like, if you do go get into some of that big backcountry type stuff, where there are less people hunting them, you're probably going to have better luck as a newer hunter. Like, if I could do it again and go back to square one, I probably would just go full commit to a backcountry hunt. For bears anyway. Like, just because I think it would have helped with the learning curve a lot.
The best part about bear hunting is you don't have to fight the weather ever.
That's not true.
You never see bears out when it's bad weather.
No. Well, I was thinking in other ways, I guess. Like, I'm constantly fighting fucking snow drifts, trying to get
Yeah.
to where I want to go.
Yeah, that's a little different. That's not weather. It's
Yeah,
precipitation on the ground.
Yeah, that's just stupid. I need a chew in a bad way.
I'm all fresh out, brother. I like to I'm a spot stock guy on pretty much everything. I think that this year I'll probably hold out for a pretty good bear. I've got a tag and a unit that's not so good, but I'm gonna go see if I can kill a bear out of there. I probably won't hold out for anything too special there, but just some spot and stock stuff. You can pretty much glass the whole unit, and there's not any real alpine stuff or great denning sites that I could find anyway. But I'm gonna go check it out next weekend and see what we can turn up. But I'll have 2 bear tags, so it'll be some more spot and stock stuff.
I have 2 potentially could, I guess, get another bear tag this spring. If I did want to go hit one of those wilderness units, but as of right now, I have one Idaho and 1 Oregon tag. And that Oregon hunt's going to be purely spot and stock, which spot and stock bear hunting is, in my opinion,
You can't even bait in Oregon, can you?
I don't think so.
I don't think you can.
No, I don't know exactly. I know it, like I got my regs figured out on what I'm going to follow.
Yeah.
But, pull that up, young Jamie.
Young Jamie.
Anyway. No, and so that'll be a pure spot and stock hunt. And this other one probably will be too, the Idaho hunt, but it's not. It's going to have an aspect of baiting in it just to try and draw some bears a little closer.
No baiting, no dogs. It is unlawful to use bait to attract black bear. And using dogs to hunt or pursue black bear is prohibited. That's straight off of eregulations.com.
Maybe you should use the Oregon regulation. So
Yeah, I better
using a third party.
check it out. But anyways, better keep talking, Richard, while I'm looking this up.
Yeah, I'm more worried about Copenhagen right now. I don't really want to take a plug off of whiskey this early in the morning. I thought I had a full can. So yeah, and I mean, hound hunting is legal in Idaho, and it's, I would say, the absolute, no questions asked, hands down, best way to get a bear killed, if that's what you want to do. But typically, either you're going to be paying somebody, or you need to be friends with a houndsman who could be probably getting paid to go kill a bear. And so that, or just raise a litter of pups. But that's a full-time job right there, trying to get a decent pack of hounds started when you don't have any. So
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work year round. It's like just like having basically a pack string, a little less maintenance pack string.
yeah, maybe more maintenance because they're dickheads that'll run away. Pack string will stay in their corral.
Yeah.
No, and so the plan is just to get some elevation on some big canyons and look down. Like, that's the whole, whether you're baiting or spot and stalking, like, that's how you're going to be successful, is getting into a big canyon with green up in the bottom, running water, and look down.
And south-facing slopes, right near the snow melt.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of history from me. I started seriously bear baiting in 2019, and that was a full-time job. I spent, I don't know how many hundreds of dollars on fuel, thousands of dollars on fuel running around the state to where I thought good bear spots were throwing up a bait, and then going to check it the next weekend to see if anything's on camera. Like, it is a full-time job, a full process of really just grinding it out. And to be honest, I think a spot and stock bear hunt is more enjoyable for most people. You're not gonna more than likely you're not going to see as many bears that way. You probably have a lesser chance of getting one killed. But the time and
More
money,
physically demanding.
Yeah, that's true as well. But the time and money that it takes to bait bears successfully is unreal. Like, the cost of the barrels and chain and your actual bait isn't super high. It's the fuel.
Yeah, you got to get trail cams. You got fuel. The bait's not bad, but it's just, and the time investment is really high.
Yeah, it is extremely high time investment. Like, for example, in 2019, I'm driving one way 4 hours to check a bait, and then I have to drive 4 hours back. That's 8 hours of drive time in a weekend for one bait. And I kind of had them set up like a person would set up like a trap line, you know. So I'm hitting more than one at a time. But by the time I've hit and checked every bait to see if bears are hitting or if I need to rebait it and decide if I want to hunt one, I mean, you have a full day invested in it, like all day long. And then, say you do want to hunt one, you're staying there till dark. And then, okay, now, if you're smart, you'll just, camp out at the pickup and then hunt it again the next day because you're already there. But it is a full-time job almost. Like, I was putting in, I bet, 40 hours a week on bear baiting, and that was in 2 days. Like, it's ridiculous how demanding it can be, especially if you live in a place where you need to drive a ways to get into what you would consider good bear habitat. And over the years of doing that and kind of graduating away from it into just a pure spot and stalk hunter, it teaches a guy a lot about where the bears are going to be and what time of years. Because I had some baits that would be on fire early April, and then in May there wouldn't be a bear on them for weeks. But then I had a couple baits that you wouldn't have a single bear on them all of April. May rolls around, those bears are on it like white on rice. A fat kid on a cupcake.
I have nothing to add to the baiting conversation because I have never done it and I probably never will. But let's switch over to some spot and stock stuff, some tactics, and where you're gonna find them, what to look for, what to stay away from.
Well, I'd say you hit the biggest nail on the head already. Like, south slopes.
Yeah. Steep country. Steep country with brush that is easily accessible, thick old stuff. That's where you're going to find the bears. They're going to come out of that thick stuff. They're going to go out on those slopes. They're going to eat that fresh greenery, follow the snow up in the springtime anyway. And that's where the bears always are. And where the big bears are that don't get shot is where the people aren't. So if you put all that stuff together, you get south-facing slopes with snow that's melted off of there. There's fresh green vegetation growing up, and people aren't in there. You're most likely going to find a good bear. But there's also lots of spots that are like that where you have all those factors, but there's just not bears there. It seems like they condense it in certain spots, and it's no rhyme or reason, really.
They're very pocketed.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, because of what Dalton just said, like, the ruggedness of the country and the factors that it plays will deter a lot of people from going to certain places that are a lot closer than you would think you need to be anyway. Like, what I'm trying to get at is people overlook bear spots because they're so rugged. The terrain is anyway. Like, if there's a place that is a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 grade with brush, like say you have a east and west running canyon, well, the south slopes are going to be open and the north slopes are going to be timbered or covered in brush on this canyon and off the finger ridges dropping into it, I should say. And if it's a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 grade to the bottom, and there's a road in the bottom of that canyon, nobody's going to climb up that.
No.
Like that right there, like, yeah, there might be traffic in the bottom. Those bears don't care. They're going to be up towards the top of the ridge. Or even if there's a road at the top, but it's 2 miles across the canyon, nobody's going to drop into that. And those are the types of places I'm looking for when I decide to go bear hunting. So it's not about how far. I would say it's about how rugged.
Yeah, how rough it is.
Yeah. Like, very rarely are you going to go.
You can take a 5-mile hike and, 5 to 10 mile hike, and that can be easier than, a mile and a half with 2,000 or 3,000 feet elevation gain.
Yeah.
It's just wherever it's hard to go and people aren't going to go, that's where you should go.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of that. Like,
but nobody's going to go there because it's hard.
Exactly. Like, if you want to get out and kill a bear this spring, drive around and find somewhere that looks shitty.
Just go up in there
and go there.
And here's a little tipsy trick. The snow also keeps people out of places a lot. So if you can get in somewhere where somebody can't because of the snow, like if you got ATV or whatever snow machine, say your road's on the north side of a hill and you got to wrap around, but 3/4 of it is covered in snow, you can get a lot closer than the next guy and get back in there.
Yeah, it's the things that keep you out of places that are going to allow bears to grow and thrive in these areas, because I would say, out of all the animals that you can hunt in the lower 48, a black bear is probably going to be the most difficult one to learn how to do it successfully. Like, it is going to have the steepest learning curve on it. Like, even for me and Dalton, like, we didn't necessarily have mentors that were spot and stalk bear hunters.
Mm.
This is a hunt that we both got into individually and decided we wanted to be successful at it, so we did. And it took a couple years. Like, I had killed incidental bears on deer and elk hunts before, but it took me a couple years after that to on purpose kill bears. And kind of when you get it figured out and that switch flips, it's not going to like be an on then off. It's going to stay on. You're going to be able to find bears consistently, is what I've noticed anyway. Like, I quit wasting my time in certain areas where I don't even have to go in there to know there won't be a bear there, whether it's because of people, lack of north and south facing slopes, or whether it's just because it's not what I would consider rugged enough, aka good bear habitat.
And there are bears in country like that, but they're scattered in between, and they're hard to hunt too, and everybody else is hunting them in there. If you can drive a 4-wheeler around the whole mountain and pretty much see every draw and ridge and everything from a road, it's not very likely that there's going to be a big boar that's survived that area long enough to be.
No, and part of the benefit of rugged, nasty, steep country is it's typically very easy to glass, right? Like, the steeper a canyon is, the easier it is to see to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And so
and the more country you can see too.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be to your benefit as the hunter of being able to look across the canyon for bears. Now, in more gentle country, you're going to be able to glass what you can glass, but if that bear rolls over a ridge, what are you going to do, right? And it just is not, you got to put yourself in a position to catch these animals, because they are always moving. They never stop moving unless they're denned up, like, in my experience anyway.
Also, probably one of the best bear killing tools that you can have in your toolbox is to be able to shoot a long ways. very rarely, unless you spot a bear and stalk in and get it shot, that's under like 400 yards, 500 yards. They're typically way out there, and you're glassing from across the canyon most of the time. And when you go drop down the canyon, especially if you don't have somebody with you that can hand signal you in or whatever, you're dropping down the canyon and you're coming up the other side. For one, it's really steep and difficult to go. You've got time that you've got to get down to the bottom and back up, and in that time that bear can move, and you don't know where it's at. And typically, it tends to look a lot more open on the side the bear's on than when you get over there and the brush is, up to your chest or over your head, and you can't see very far. So typically, you're either shooting 500 yards or 50.
Yeah, and that's I would say that's true as well. Every bear I've killed under 400 yards has either been, they've been in trees.
Yeah.
Like, I've treed 2 bears on foot and killed both of them, and which is a wild deal to think about, like, that you can scare a vicious animal like that bad enough where it'll climb a tree and you can shoot it. Yeah.
You gotta bark at that thing.
Yeah. But no, and so I do want to get into a little bit like the anatomy of a bear, because the biggest bear I ever shot, I didn't find it. After 2 miles of tracking on my hands and knees at times looking for the tiniest amount of blood. And eventually that bear laid up and stopped bleeding and I lost him. But avoid high shots, high shoulder shots, or just avoid aiming high on a bear. The way that their vitals sit, I would say it doesn't hurt to be even further back on a bear than, say, a deer or elk. But things go bad with bears when you aim high. When you hold high. Like, a lot of guys are right now advocating for a high shoulder shot on a lot of animals like deer and elk to get that shock that'll drop them. But on a bear, if you just kind of hold slightly forward of center and then elevation wise just dead center on that bear, that is going to be your best bet. But if you hit them high, like, it'll roll them over, it'll hurt them bad, but they'll be gone. And bears do not bleed.
Yeah, they have that fat that'll unless you're shooting a big caliber and a strong bullet that's going to exit and just destroy that far side. If their bullet passes through, you're probably not going to get a blood trail, but it's very good.
Yeah, their fat will plug the hole, and their hide will just soak up that blood.
Yeah.
And so
their hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're long, especially early springtime bears, long shaggy hair. Mm-hmm. They're going to soak up that blood. So
they also look deeper than they actually are too, because of that hair. Yeah. Hangs down their belly, and it makes it look like their body's thicker.
Yeah. To be honest, my favorite shot on a bear is headshot. They don't go anywhere. You don't, a head is going to be a nice trophy, but I would rather get that hide and just have that bear drop in its tracks, because tracking bears sucks. They go into the worst possible places, the thickest brush they can find, and if that bear's alive and you're in there, you don't really want to tangle with it. So
I subscribe to the center deal. Shoot the bear in the center of the center.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. That would be my probably number one recommendation. But if I have a bear at 200 yards facing me, I will take that shot.
Oh, right in the noggin?
Yeah, just dome him and be done with it. But that's just me, and I have the confidence to know that I can hit that bear where I want to hit it.
You want to touch on calibers a little bit? Cartridges, what do you think?
Yeah, we can. I think you're going to be better off with a 284 and up caliber for bears, but you get all the way down to a 6mm, or what would be, I guess, a 243. Like, that is going to kill a bear.
As long as you got a tough bullet, yeah.
Yeah, you really want, and I've kind of subscribed to this as like a hybrid target or even a match round, where you want that penetration. You don't want that bullet to expand and just blow apart until it impacts the bear. I'm not, on bears anyway, because they don't bleed worth a damn anyway, I'm not looking for an exit wound, to be honest. I'd rather have that bullet expand all of its energy and rip that bear apart internally. I don't necessarily need a 4-inch by 4-inch exit wound. Plus, when you're hunting bears, you're hunting the hide. Why you don't want that anyway.
Yeah.
So
I don't like that too much because of if your shot goes errand. Like I like a tougher bullet that's gonna have some penetration. And yeah, the bear might run a little bit, and the other tougher to find. But if you got a little bit 1/4 shot or whatever, you have to punch through the shoulder or square on, or maybe even Texas heart shot if you got a follow up shot. Well, your bullet's gonna get in there and get into the vitals and do some damage.
Yeah, I think we're more or less.
Barnes has a match hunting bullet now, I believe, that does pretty good. I've heard some horror stories on some forked horns and doe mule deer where they shoot them at 200 yards with a 28 caliber bullet, and the thing runs for 100 yards, which this doesn't inspire confidence in me.
I don't necessarily think we're disagreeing on this point. I think we just worded it differently. I want a bullet that's going to enter and expand and leave all of its energy in that animal. I don't necessarily need an exit or want an exit wound on a bear.
I do. I want it to go all the way through.
Yeah. I mean, they're both going to work, right?
Where mine's come from is purely anecdotal. I don't have any science to back it up, but I've heard similar stories from other people. But for the majority of my life, every elk that I've killed has been with all of the elk I've killed have been with a 270. But for years and years, it was the 150 grain core-locked 270 bullet that I shot and killed elk with, always under 200 yards, basically, in timber. So I just put elk down, just tipped them over right away. And then I started doing other hunting, some mule deer hunting, and I wanted to use my same rifle, so I started using some different bullets and some 150 grain bullets that expanded rapidly, and they said they're going to leave all that energy into an animal. Well, I shot a deer with it, a mule deer, and I was 50 yards away probably. Shot it, and it went down, and it started crawling away, so I had to shoot it again. I thought that's a little weird, but whatever. And then the elk I shot the same year, I had to shoot 3 times with that same bullet. Well, before with that core locked, everything that it touches, it
I just blame that on the 270 caliber.
The greatest calibers of all time.
No, fucking Jack Youngblood or
whatever.
O'Connor doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah. I killed a lot.
There's no replacement
a lot of animals
for displacement, son.
Oh, okay.
Give me that.
All right, Brady.
Give me that powder.
Yeah.
No,
You shot a 308 your whole life.
Yeah, give me that 30 cal.
Yeah. Lobby, no energy, son of a gun.
It's got more energy at 800 than that 270 does.
Yeah, neither one of us have shot an elk at 800.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's just because we're good hunters, I guess.
Yeah. That's unnecessary unless, I guess it's necessary.
I'm probably going to kill one at 1800 this year.
Oh, so. Yeah?
No, but back to the bear hunting, when you, every bear I've ever killed, I would say half to 3/4 of them have not had an exit wound based on bullet choice and type of bullet, shooting a more match style bullet with a thin jacket outside of it, where when it impacts and penetrates, it breaks apart. I've noticed more lethality on that than a bear I shot with, say, a typical core lock style bonded bullet hunting round that leaves they might leave an exit wound, but when they punch through, they're not doing as much damage internally. Like that big bear I shot and lost. That bear had an exit wound up high, and it sealed up and was out of there.
What'd you shoot it with?
I shot it with my 308.
With what? What kind?
I believe it was a Winchester silver tip. 160 grain.
That's not
like
a
that.
cup and core bonded bullet.
Yeah, it is.
It's just a bonded bullet.
Yeah, I didn't say cup and core. I said bonded.
Oh. Well, if you would have shot it with a match bullet, it probably in the same spot, it most likely would have gotten away as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it very well could have.
I don't know if that's...
Or it rips apart inside and dies. I mean, who knows?
Maybe if it shot like a piece of shrapnel up to its spine or something, but high shots on a bear is not good.
No, that's something we were going to both agree on is...
Yeah. You got to have a significant amount of energy and just absolutely rock their system if you're going to shoot them high.
Yeah. Aim center, slightly forward of center is my recommendation on
a
shot placement.
Yeah, on a broadside shot.
Yeah. And if they're quartering to, point of shoulder, punch it through all their vitals. If they're facing you, shoot them in the head. Always down for headshots on bears. The skulls will still look cool if they don't blow apart anyway.
Yeah, if you're capable of that. Not everybody's a capable shooter that can shoot very good. No. I feel comfortable doing it as well. But
if you can't shoot a bear in the head at under 200 yards,
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Like that's a 8-inch by 8-inch paper plate size target, and
I would say half of that really is where it's going to kill them. Unless you get them and knocks them out, and you got to run up there. And the problem with mishitting bears and not knocking them down and killing them where they're at, when they die or whatever, whenever they lay down, they mold into the ground.
Yeah, they're hard to find.
Yeah, they're just hard to find. It's not like a elk that'll lay down there and you can see half its body above the grass or whatever. They just lay flat to the ground. It's hard as heck to see them sometimes, especially when you're in that thicker brush. You're right up on them sometimes before you can see them.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's not what I would call the easiest animal to track. I would say they're probably as hard as it gets to track.
They don't have hooves either. You might get the initial scratching of their claws when they take off, but then you're rarely getting a good blood trail, and their pads are soft, so you might, they'll crush the vegetation, but unless they're really tearing up the ground, you're not going to see a good track.
Yeah. No, I would say in the lower 48, you got bears and wolves, those are the ones you're not going to want to track, and not even because they're dangerous. It's because it's hard to track
it's
them.
Hard to get them.
They don't give you any outs really. They don't die easy. Yeah. They soak up all the blood. They don't have hooves to imprint in the ground. They're a hard animal to track, and they're easy to lose. It happens all the time.
And you think, they're black, everything else is green or brown, I'm going to be able to see them easy.
I'll tell you what, black blends in with a shadow real well.
Really good. So. And that's right where they're going. They're going into that thick brush.
Yeah. Well, I guess we've kind of talked tips and tactics and calibers, and I think at this point we're going to have to get back on after we kill the bear here.
Yeah.
And kind of finish off the podcast.
Maybe do one after opener, see what we're seeing.
Yeah, maybe do a part 2.
Yeah.
Part 3. We're gonna try and I imagine we'll try and do some videoing and put together a short film on the spring bear as well. So
yeah,
the conglomeration of all the shit we've put together and videoed together. So
yep.
Anyway, guys, that's Blue Mountain Hunting Company. We'll talk to you next time.